NBC News broke the story today. I don't know if you saw it, that the Democrats are already saying, if you bring President Bill Clinton and he has to testify, we're bringing President Trump. What do you say to that?
I think they might say that, but they've already brought me. See, I've been brought. They had me indicted many times. Many times.
And the president had some surprising thoughts about former President Bill Clinton.
It bothers me that somebody's going after Bill Clinton. See, I like Bill Clinton. I still like Bill Clinton.
What do you like about him?
I liked his behavior toward me. I thought he got me. He understood me. He was the one that said very famously that you don't want to run against Trump when there were 18 people. It was 18 people, including me, total. And he kept telling them, you don't want to run against Trump. Run against anyone. Don't run against Trump. And Hillary sort of laughed at him.
There's a lot to unpack here, but let's start with Trump's claim that he's already been dealt with in the same way Bill and Hillary Clinton are being dealt with now. That's simply not true. What Trump is doing, again, is deliberately blurring the lines between very different legal realities. He's equating a congressional subpoena with his own criminal prosecutions after the 2020 election, and those two things are fundamentally not the same. Trump wasn't prosecuted because Congress didn't like him or because Adam Schiff or Joe Biden waved a magic wand. He was prosecuted through the normal legal process. In one case, a special counsel, Jack Smith, was appointed precisely because Attorney General Merrick Garland wanted to avoid even the appearance of political bias. In other cases, state and local prosecutors brought charges. Those indictments weren't decided by Democrats in a back room. They were handed down by grand juries made up of ordinary citizens. Prosecutors gathered evidence, presented facts, and juries determined there was probable cause that crimes had been committed. Trump was indicted because he tried to overturn a free and fair election, because he worked to block Congress from certifying the results, because he took classified documents and refused to return them, and because he committed campaign finance violations. That's not a witch hunt. That's accountability. Trump can posture as a victim all he wants, but the reality is this: he wasn't targeted by a corrupt system. He's an example of a system so lenient that a guilty man has repeatedly managed to avoid real consequences. Now contrast that with what Bill and Hillary Clinton are facing. They are being compelled to testify before Congress about their involvement with Jeffrey Epstein. And honestly, that's something we should all support, for two very straightforward reasons. First, anyone, Democrat, Republican, powerful, famous, or otherwise, who engaged in criminal behavior with Epstein should be held accountable. Period. No exceptions, no excuses, no party loyalty. If that includes Bill Clinton, then so be it. This isn't a cult of personality. Political affiliation should never be a shield from justice. The second reason this matters is the precedent it sets. Republicans are now openly endorsing the idea that former presidents and their families can be forced to comply with congressional subpoenas and testify under oath, facing perjury charges if they lie about their connections to Jeffrey Epstein. And given that Trump's name reportedly appears in Epstein-related files thousands of times, it raises an obvious and unavoidable question. If this standard applies to the Clintons, why shouldn't it apply to him too? That's the contradiction Republicans are now being pressed to answer, and they don't have a comfortable response.
President Trump's name is mentioned more than 1,000 times in these documents. Why not try to get more information from him? Try to get him to testify.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed that every time you all do a gaggle like this with President Trump, somebody asks him about Epstein. So he's been answering questions about Epstein.
Not under oath.
But, has Bill Clinton ever answered any questions on Epstein or Hillary Clinton? So this is going to be a new opportunity, and we'll go from there.
And there goes James Comer, once again doing Trump's bidding by pointing the finger at Bill and Hillary Clinton. But here's the thing. That's actually fine. Yes, the Clintons should testify. We should get the full facts, the complete picture. Accountability should extend to everyone involved, not just a single political family. The irony here is worth noting. Someday, that exact clip of Comer deflecting to the Clintons will likely be used as justification for subpoenaing Donald Trump himself before a Democrat-led House. Hypocrisy and shamelessness aren't new in Republican strategy, but what matters is that they're effectively setting the rules. And if they set a precedent, it's one that the rest of us should expect to see applied consistently.
Well, for people who say that I'm not okay, no, I'm not okay. I'm not okay with Epstein co-conspirators walking free. I'm not okay with pedophiles in South Carolina getting 1 day in jail under the leadership of our Attorney General. I'm not okay with murderers walking free. I'm not okay with the death or execution of young women like Logan Federico by a guy that had over 20 felonies under his belt. There are a lot of victims, both sexual assault victims, murder victims, victims of child predators, for example, that I've been working with in South Carolina and across the country. What's happening right now where people don't go to jail for the crimes they commit because of their power, their wealth, or whomever they are, because the system is broken, none of us should be okay with that. And if I'm going to be attacked for standing up for those that don't have a voice, who can't stand on their own, then I'm going to be okay with that. And I say, bring it on to the mainstream media. If they can't break me, they're just going to make it up. And I'm here for it. And nothing's going to stop me from being governor of South Carolina.
Believe it or not, I think Nancy Mace and I might actually see eye to eye on something for once. After that surprisingly principled stand she just took, you'd think the logic is clear. If Trump's name also appears in the Epstein files, then surely he should be called to testify as well. There's no way around it. Consistency demands it.
Congresswoman, last question. Do you think that President Trump should answer more questions about the Epstein files?
Well, I believe he already has. I mean, he went to the authorities. He's the one that banned Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. He's been very open and very transparent. And I hope that he will support the efforts of the House Oversight Committee to get to the bottom of this. And I want to see people named. I want predators named. I want them investigated, and I want them to go to jail.
It's almost impressive, that Republicans are teetering on the edge of having even one principle that could apply to their ultimate figurehead, Donald Trump. But while they wobble, the Democrats are crystal clear. They're not bending. They're not equivocating. According to NBC News,
Representative Jared Moskowitz, an Oversight Committee member known for his frequent on-camera clashes with Comer, said the chairman is sealing his legacy and won't like what comes next when the Democrats next take control of the House and its committees on oversight, banking, and judiciary. Quote, the folks are going to run with it everywhere. It will be crypto. It will be their business. It will be all the investments in the Middle East. It'll be on the Qatari plane. It's going to be the latest thing with the UAE. It's going to be all of it, Moskowitz added, all of it. They are giving a license to these new chairmen in January that will be Comer's legacy. So when Don Jr. and Eric and their children, not because I want this to happen, because I don't want it to happen, but when they're all here, they can thank James Comer for that. Jamie Raskin agreed. According to NBC News, quote, it's clear that past precedents are not off limits for subpoenas. Clinton is a past president who had rendered substantial good faith compliance. But if there is a former president who doesn't render substantial good faith compliance, they're going to be in trouble under this precedent. All bets are off. So did Eugene Vindman. Quote, given the level of corruption that we've seen from this administration, the entire Trump family, and the president himself, I think we should anticipate that this president will be called in after his term as well. As did Zoe Lofgren, a member of the now defunct January 6th committee, who gave a curt response when asked Tuesday what the Comer-Clinton standard means for the House's future. Quote, when is Trump coming, she said. I mean, hell, even James Comer himself conceded as much. Asked by NBC News on Tuesday if he's setting a precedent that Democrats could use to call Trump to testify, Comer conceded it could set a precedent.
At the end of the day, Democrats didn't start this fight, but make no mistake, we should be determined to finish it. Call the Clintons to testify, put them under the microscope, demand every answer. If they broke the law, hold them accountable. And once that standard is set, apply it universally, including to Donald Trump. Trump knows this could happen, which is why he's already hedging, whining that maybe Bill Clinton shouldn't have to testify. Maybe it's unfair. After all, he's been so nice to me, he seems to suggest. But let's be real. Trump is a narcissist. If he could disappear into a cloud of self-adoration, we'd probably never hear from him again. Not exactly shocking. But the real point is bigger than his ego. One day, when Trump is out of power, he could find himself in exactly the same position as Bill Clinton, a former president with documented ties to a pedophile, forced to answer under oath. And remember, lying to Congress is a crime. Defying a congressional subpoena is a crime. As long as the next Democratic Attorney General doesn't pull a Merrick Garland, Trump can absolutely be held accountable if he refuses to testify or lies under oath about provable facts. And if you know Trump at all, you know that lying is basically his default mode. So let's see what Bill and Hillary have to say first, and then keep the standard consistent. Because if we're serious about holding powerful ex-presidents accountable, Trump might want to start clearing his calendar for February of 2029